and a very warm welcome to Science Monitor, where we bring you all the latest updates on what's happening in the field of science, technology, research and innovation in and around the country. I'm Frank Rausen Pereira. From the scientists and discoveries that have won this year's Nobel to an eye-opening study revealing the adverse effects of air pollution on honeybees, we have plenty in store for you. But as always, let's begin with the headlines. Winners of the Nobel Prize 2020 announced in all fields of science, prizes awarded jointly for key discoveries with practical applications. Magnetic field map of the sun developed using rare digitized data from the Kodaikanal Solar Observatory can help in predicting sun's future. An international team, including IIT Madras researchers, reached the third stage of USA's Waves to Water Prize competition. Researchers working on a scalable, wave-powered desalination system to win the final prize. And study led by National Center for Biological Sciences reveals how air pollution is depleting the health of wild honeybees. Such effects on pollinators can reduce the crop production drastically. And now the news in detail. The names of Nobel Prize winners in the fields of medicine or physiology, that is physics and chemistry, were announced from the 5th to the 7th of October in Sweden. This year, the prizes have been awarded jointly to 2 or more scientists in each field of science for outstanding discoveries that have benefited humankind in a remarkable way. This year, the Nobel Foundation has raised the prize money by 1 million Swedish kronor, while the grand award ceremonies held every year on the 10th of December in Stockholm and Oslo have been scaled down due to the pandemic. Here's a report on this year's winners in the various fields of science.
The announcement of this year's Nobel Prize winners started with the Nobel Prize in Medicine or Physiology. The prize was announced on 5th of October by the Nobel Assembly at Karolinska Institute. The prize was awarded jointly to Harvey J. Alter of USA, Michael Houghton of Britain, Charles M. Rice of USA for the discovery of hepatitis C virus. Harvey J. Alter studied the blood transfusion-related hepatitis and detected an unknown virus causing chronic hepatitis. Michael Houghton used a new technique to clone the virus and developed a highly sensitive blood test for identifying the virus. And Charles M. Rice provided the final proof that the hepatitis C virus alone could cause the chronic condition. These discoveries led to the development of tests, drugs, and treatments of the disease. The Nobel Prize in Physics for the year 2020 was announced on the 6th of October by the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences. The prize has been awarded to Roger Penrose of Britain, Reinhard Genzel of Germany, and Andrea Ghez of USA for their breakthroughs in understanding the mysteries of cosmic black holes. Roger Penrose is awarded for proving mathematically that black holes are a direct consequence of Albert Einstein's theory of general relativity, and the process of their formation is a stable one. While Reinhard Genzel and Andrea Ghez have been awarded for discovering an invisible, compact and supermassive object at the center of our galaxy Milky Way, which is most likely a black hole. Half of the prize money will be awarded to Roger Penrose and the other half jointly Reinhard Genzel and Andrea Ghez. Interestingly, the works of these Nobel laureates were built upon the work of Indian scientists like A.K. Ray Chaudhary and C.V. Vishveshwara. Roger Penrose and Stephen Hawking's proofs relied on Ray Chaudhary's equation given in 1950. which demonstrates that singularities are an inevitable consequence of general relativity. Singularities are points of infinite density as found in the center of black holes. On the other hand, Professor C.V. Vishveshwara published 3 groundbreaking papers on black holes research in the 1970s, when he was just a graduate student at the University of Maryland. His critical calculation was also used in the discovery of gravitational waves produced by the merger of black holes that were detected by the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory in 2015. The Nobel Prize in Chemistry was announced on 7th of October by the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences. The names of Emmanuel Charpentier of France and Jennifer A. Doudna of the USA were announced for developing a genome editing tool. Both the scientists will share the prize for discovering CRISPR-Cas9, which is an easy, fast and highly precise method of genome editing. This announcement also made them the first pair of women scientists to win the award in any field of science without a male collaborator also on the award list. Recently, Indian scientists at CSIR's Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology developed a COVID-19 testing kit based on the CRISPR-Cas9 technology. Since 1901, the Nobel Prizes are awarded according to the will of the Swedish scientist Sir Alfred Nobel in the fields of physics, chemistry, physiology or medicine, literature and peace. While a memorial prize in economic sciences was added in 1968, the prizes are announced in the month of October and grand award ceremonies are organized on the 10th of December. However, this year all physical ceremonies have been scaled down due to the pandemic of COVID-19 and award ceremonies are most likely to be digital this year.
Well, Indian researchers have recently developed a magnetic field map of the sun corresponding to the first half of the century, that is for the period between 1915 to 1965. The map has been developed using digitized films and photographs of the sun taken at multiple wavelengths by the Kodaikanal Solar Observatory of the Indian Institute of Astrophysics. The data from the Kodaikanal Solar Observatory is unique as it is the only observatory in the world to have made such direct observations of the sun's magnetic field before the 1960s. The map developed with this data can immensely improve our understanding of the sun's behavior.
At a distance of about 4 kilometers from Tamil Nadu's Kodaikanal, on the southern tip of the Palani Hills, lies the Kodaikanal Solar Observatory of the Indian Institute of Astrophysics, an autonomous institute of the Department of Science and Technology. The observatory was established here in 1899 by shifting all the activities of the Madras Solar Observatory. Since then, this observatory is studying and observing the sun at different wavelengths. The observatory has many telescopes like the 60-centimeter reflector tunnel telescope, twin telescope, white light active region monitor, spectroheliograph, which has been here since 1904. and H-alpha telescope, which was installed here in 2014. The observatory has a rich history of taking solar images and films at calcium K, hydrogen alpha and white light on photographic plates and films over a century. And these are the only uniform observations of the sun available in the world for the period of 1915 to 1965. These archives are also an important tool to measure the magnetic activity of the sun. Therefore, they have been digitized at the observatory.
Systematically for every day, several images have been taken. So we have digitized all these images over the 100 years, which were taken in photographic plates and later on in films and so on. And now it is all in digital form.
Using the digitized solar images from 1915 to 1965, a team of scientists led by Professor Deepankar Banerjee has reconstructed the magnetic field map of the Sun, corresponding to the 5 decades of the last century. This effort will also help in understanding the polarity reversal of the Sun, which occurs at every 11 years and shows a distinct pattern that repeats over time.
We have now constructed this map, which allows you to sort of study how this field is coming in the surface and how it is, decaying with time. So there are certain other properties also being studied from this magnetic map. Why sunspots appear at certain latitude on the solar surface, and then with the progress of the solar cycle, the stronger field goes to the equator, whereas the weaker field goes to the pole. And then there is another element happens every 11 years, the sun's polarity also reverses. So when does this polarity reversal will happen? You can only indicate when these diffuse field, which will go towards the pole. So these magnetic maps are actually providing you a very good timing information also in terms of the polarity reversal.
The map, developed with the help of 15,000 digital images of the Sun, can predict the future of the Sun by throwing light on its past behavior. Sun is the primary source of energy that sustains life on the Earth. Therefore, our future depends heavily on the destiny of the Sun. Developing a magnetic field map is essential to study the patterns of the magnetic activity, and to refine their map, scientists also plan to use data from other observatories.
So this is the first map of its kind. We are expecting next stage to even include data from other observatories. So this is entirely done from Kodaikanal data, but now we are going to combine the data from the Mount Wilson Observatory, which is in US. So you can imagine that when you improve the quality and the statistics in terms of taking data from different sources, cross-calibrate, your next result will be even more refined.
Similar to climate studies where meteorologists need data regarding rain patterns, temperature, etc., astronomers need information on the behavior of the Sun in the past to predict how it will behave in the future. A critical parameter of this behavior is the magnetic field, which keeps varying and governs the long-time changes in the Sun. Technology today has enabled direct observations of magnetic field, but there are no direct observations of magnetic field recorded before 1960s. Therefore, the recently digitized data of the 121 years old Kodaikanal Observatory is of immense value, and now it is available for free on the website of the observatory.
Well, it's time for a short break now, but stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Defeat coronavirus. Let us always remember: wear a mask, wash hands, follow physical distancing. Together, we'll succeed. Together, we'll win against COVID-19.
Welcome back. After the break, you're watching Science Monitor. I'm Frank Razan Pereira. Well, an international team consisting of researchers from the Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, has entered the third phase of the Waves to Water Prize competition organized by the US Department of Energy. More than 100 global teams were participating in this competition, and the team, Nalu AY, which also includes Indian researchers, was among the 17 winners of the second round. The objective of the competition is to design a wave energy-based desalination system to provide post-disaster drinking water supply to coastal areas. Here's a detailed report.
Researchers of IIT Madras, along with their international team members belonging to US and Sweden, have won the first two phases of the Waves to Water competition organized by the US Department of Energy. The objective is to design a wave energy-based desalination system to provide post-disaster drinking water supply to coastal areas. More than 100 global teams participated in the concept stage of the competition and 20 were selected for the design stage. Under a collective effort of US, India and Sweden, researchers from IIT Madras, Uppsala University, Sweden and University of Hawaii, US formed an international team, NALU-EY, and entered the third stage of the competition after winning the concept and design stage. The team will now compete with 16 other teams.
We have 7,500 kilometer or 7,500 kilometer coastal length, and lots of wave energy, tidal energy is already there. Thermal energy also stored there. So there are several techniques to harvest, and we tried to create a new technique to harvest ocean energy, and not to get directly electricity, we want to get drinkable water or potable water.
NALU-EY team is working on a wave energy-based desalination system. The researchers have developed a water purification system that will be powered by flap-type energy converter. The flaps will gain energy from sea waves, and the energy will power a piston to run an RO in the system. This will desalinate the seawater to make it potable without the use of an external energy source. The system will prove very useful in coastal regions like Chennai that are struggling with water scarcity and often face disasters like floods.
We are near very coastal area, but still we had water shortage. That means there is some problem, technological gap, or some gap is there, some water is there, energy is there, but we cannot get. So that gap we are trying to fulfill. So if we are successful in this case, definitely it will be a game-changing solution. We can provide fresh water to the coastal people who are having issue related to uncertainties, or like during summer season they cannot get, or maybe cyclone season they cannot get, or whole year around we can supply potable water, drinkable water, usable water to the people.
The competition has been organized by the US Department of Energy to accelerate the development of the wave-driven desalination system and carries a prize money of $3.3 million. The competition has 5 stages. The concept and design of the winner teams will be tested in the progressive stages to obtain pure drinking water from sea. The prize is focused on advancing transformational technology and innovation to meet the global need for secure and affordable water, especially in disaster relief scenarios and remote coastal locations.
Moving on to some other information or news now. Many studies have confirmed the ill effects of air pollution on human health. But do we ever think about the negative impact of air pollution on other living beings? Well, a study conducted in Bengaluru and published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences of the USA has shown how air pollution is proving detrimental to the health of the giant Asian honeybees. According to researchers, the adverse effects on such pollinators can directly affect our food production besides disturbing the ecosystem.
Pollinators play an important role in our ecosystem and environment conservation. Many insects help in pollination and lead to the multiplication of plant species, both agricultural and wild. Insects like honeybees not only contribute in pollination, but also produce economically important products such as honey. In India, Apis dorsata, or the giant Asian honeybee, produces over 80% of the country's honey and pollinates over 687 plants in Karnataka alone. But now these insects are getting affected by the air pollution. A recent study done by Bangalore-based National Centre for Biological Sciences of the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research has led to some shocking facts. The study has been done by the postdoctoral fellow Geetha G. Thimmegowda under the guidance of Dr. Shannon Olson.
She collected some of these bees and she brought them back to the lab and looked at them under something called a scanning electron microscope, which is a very high-powered microscope where we can look at the bee under very high magnification. And when she looked at the bees from the more urban parts of the city, they were coated with debris. They had little particles all over them. And she then analyzed those particles using something called elemental X-ray analysis, which allows you to determine what those particles are made of. And she found things like lead and arsenic and tungsten and all of these metals and dangerous toxic chemicals that shouldn't have any business on a bee's body. And that's when we realized that these bees were being exposed to air pollution.
The 4-year study was conducted on more than 1,800 honeybees that were collected from in and around Bangalore. Along with this, a correlative study was also conducted on fruit flies reared in labs. Bees from more polluted areas showed significant differences in heart rhythmicity, blood cell count, and expression of genes coding for stress, metabolism, and immunity. Micron-sized particulate matter containing toxic metals was also found on the bees. And most shockingly, over 80% of the bees collected from the moderate to highly polluted sites died within 24 hours. These outcomes are enough to show that the air pollution is having a devastating effect on these important insects.
We wanted to check what is happening inside their body, and we checked their heart rate. The heart rate from the bee of highly polluted region was very different, and we call it in scientific terms artificial rhythmia. So it means there is a fluctuation in the heart rate. And heartbeat pattern was very different. So we never observed those type of differences in the bee from low polluted region. And we also checked the number of blood cells. The number of blood cells are really less and from the bees of highly polluted region. And we also checked a few genes which are responsible for basic metabolism and stress and immune function.
According to the study, the population of these pollinators is decreasing rapidly in mega cities, and factors like habitat loss and lack of water could also be the contributors in this trend besides air pollution. This situation will become worse with increasing air pollution and urbanization unless we start caring about it. According to an estimate, without the honeybees, the yearly mango export in India would lose over Rs 65,000 lakhs. Therefore, urgent and immediate measures are needed to save pollinators like the honeybee.
Well, it's time for another short break on the program, but stay tuned. We'll be right back and with much more.
Delhi for centuries has nurtured many kingdoms and rulers. These kingdoms have left us several significant monuments with an incredible history to tell. Among these monuments is one which is in the midst of posh bungalows in Haus Khas area, the Chor Minar. Built under the rule of Alauddin Khilji, telling a statement of his rule, is believed to have stood out as a deterrent for thieves and thugs who attempted to venture in his kingdom. Built in 13th century, the pillar is made of rubble masonry and stands at the center of a platform. Each of the four sides of the platform has three arched recesses with a doorway on one side leading to a spiral staircase. The pillar, also believed to be known as the Tower of Thieves, was used to display the severed heads of the thieves and thugs through its 225 holes.
Welcome back. After the break, you're watching Science Monitor. I'm Frank Razum Pereira, and now let's have a quick look at some other developments that have made news in the field of science and technology in our segment, Science Express.
According to a new study published in the journal Clinical Infectious Diseases, SARS-CoV-2 can survive several hours on human skin. The lab experiments conducted by the scientists on the skin, usually used for skin grafts, found that the novel coronavirus can survive for more than 9 hours. In contrast, the influenza A virus survived less than 2 hours on human skin. However, both the viruses were completely inactivated within 15 seconds by using hand sanitizer containing 80% alcohol. The study proves once again that proper hand hygiene is vital to prevent the spread of SARS-CoV-2 infection. Scientists at Agharkar Research Institute, an autonomous institute of the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, have developed a wheat variety with significantly high yield. The variety, called Max 6478, has doubled the crop yield for farmers belonging to Karanjkhop, a village in Maharashtra. The farmers are now getting a yield of 45 to 60 quintal per hectare with the new variety, as against earlier average yield ranging 25 to 30 quintal per hectare when they cultivated Lok 1, HD 2189 and other old varieties. The variety matures in 110 days and is resistant to most traces of leaf and stem rust. The chapati from the flour of this wheat also scores high on quality. On 6th October, Union Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Harshvardhan released National Clinical Management Protocol based on Ayurveda and Yoga for the management of COVID-19. It mentions dietary measures, yoga and use of herbs like ashwagandha and formulations like Ayush 64 for the prevention of coronavirus infection and treatment of mild and asymptomatic cases. According to the Ministry of Ayush, medical studies have confirmed that better immunity can prevent COVID-19, and therefore one may use Ayurvedic medicines like ashwagandha, chavanprash, clove, etc. for the same. However, the Ministry of Ayush also clarified that Ayurveda-based protocol cannot replace the standard protocol for management of COVID-19. Therefore, it won't work if people start ignoring other recommended guidelines like wearing of masks. Researchers from the Washington State University have discovered 24 planets in the universe which may support life better than the Earth. Researchers observed 4,500 exoplanets and identified 24 life-supporting planets based on a set of parameters, though the scientists haven't confirmed any life on these planets. According to the researchers, all these planets are located 100 light-years away from Earth. The possibility of life on any planet depends majorly on the lifespan of the star it revolves around. Researchers think that life may originate better on planets which are 5 to 8 billion years old and are revolving around stars with longer lifespan than the Sun.
Well, that's all the time we have in today's edition of Science Monitor, but we'd like to hear from you as well. Do send us your feedback and your suggestions through email. You can email us at news@vigyanprasar.gov.in. You can also write to us at Vigyan Prasar, 5th floor, Prithvi Bhavan, Lodi Road, New Delhi, 110003. That's it from me. See you again next time.